Time to get buzzed. Howard Bender, aka Roto Buzz Guy, is here to help you get through Thursday on Getting Buzzed. And now, please welcome to the virtual stage, Mr. Howard Bender.
What is going on, everybody? Welcome in. Thanks for joining me here at Getting Buzzed. I am Howard Bender, and that's right. This is sports talk with a little fun and a little edge to it. Appreciate everybody tuning in here. And if you're watching me on the old Fantasy Alarm YouTube page, well, by all means, hit that like button, click subscribe. You don't want to miss any of the content that we've got coming out here on the Fantasy Alarm YouTube page. From the Quick Outs podcast to Alarm Fantasy Football to Brits Blitz to Coops Fantasy Fiasco, the betting show, the Better Sports Betting Show. We've got it all for you here. So hit that like and subscribe button. We think that we got something real good here for you. Today, I know that I've got something real good for you here. My special guest joining us a little later on. You guys know her as at Stepmom Lauren over on the old Twitter machine there. Right, she's a writer over at FTN Fantasy. She's the host of the FTN Fantasy Show on Sirius XM Saturday mornings from 9 to 11 a.m. Eastern. And she's also the founder of StepmomLauren.com. And so you can give her a follow at StepmomLauren and definitely check out StepmomLauren.com. She's got links to all of her work that she does. She's also one hell of a person. Funny as hell. Can't wait to have her on. She's one of my favorite people in this industry. And you know what? The best way to equate it is that Lauren and I, if we were like brother, sister, or cousins, and we were sitting at the Thanksgiving table, we'd be the two getting yelled at by everybody for constantly giggling and laughing during the entire meal. So that's what we're like. That's what our vibe is. And I'm so excited to have her here. Before we get to Lauren and have some fun with her, we always like to hit some of the hot news topics around sports. We love to play in the headlines of what's going on. And so, I mean, let's start it off here right now. Chiefs Kingdom. What are y'all doing here? What are y'all doing? All right, so much to unpack here. First and foremost, there's the image. Kadarius Toney, 100% offsides. You know, the really funny thing was I was sitting there on Saturday night after I had done a bunch of work. Wife had gone to bed, and I ended up getting locked in to Remember the Titans. And it was like a premonition, right? Because you just sit there, you see, he's offsides. He's lining up offsides. Well, here you go with Kadarius Toney. Now, fact of the matter is he's 100% offsides. All right. I've seen the video, and thank you, members of Chiefs Kingdom, who have sent me the video that shows from the field level that Kadarius Toney walks over and he looks over at the ref, but then he looks away immediately. The ref never gives him any kind of an acknowledgement. He looked back, and that was the end of it. All right. And then the ball got hiked, flag goes up in the air. All right. There's a lot to unpack here. First and foremost, stop crying about them calling the penalty. I get it. Some refs do it on the regular. Most refs don't. Most players check with the ref. They look at the ball. They look at the ref. They check with the ref. They wait. They lock eye contact with the ref. They wait for some sort of an acknowledgement. Kadarius Toney did not look for any kind of acknowledgement whatsoever. He looked, and then he looked back. And that's it. But here's the thing. You guys could be like, well, he shouldn't call the penalty in that sense. And he shouldn't call a penalty, at that point of the game with so much riding on it. Listen, rules are rules, people. And I say this to fantasy owners all the time who sit there and whine and cry about suddenly finding out new rules in their fantasy league. All right. You call the penalty. If you see the penalty, you call the penalty. All right. Maybe not every ref sees it. Maybe more refs are more diligent about telling a guy, move over. Whatever the case may be, it didn't happen here. Kadarius Toney glanced at the ref and glanced back, didn't give him any time to, acknowledge him or anything like that. And he was lined up offsides. Ref calls the penalty. That's it. And listen, I've heard all the talking heads all over the place have what they have to say about it. And first and foremost, I think that it's very telling when you get wide receivers, former wide receivers, current wide receivers, explaining that Kadarius Toney was wrong, that the Chiefs shouldn't be complaining to the refs about this. Patrick Mahomes shouldn't be crying about the refs to Josh Allen. All right. It's Kadarius Toney's fault. It's Kadarius Toney's responsibility. So stop with the whole conspiracy theory against the Chiefs, and and nobody wants the Chiefs in the Super Bowl again, and everybody's like it's ridiculous that the fact that a fan base wants to sit there and claim that the refs are out to get them. I've heard it from every stupid fan base. Cowboys fans say it when calls go against the Cowboys. Giants fans say it when the calls are going against the Giants. Raiders fans say it all the time, whether things are going against them or not. All right. Anytime a ref makes a call against your play, the hometown team fans are like, "No, the refs, the refs, the refs." Listen to what everybody's saying. Now, RG3, when I saw his whole thing, he said he pointed, but he never got confirmation. His big thing is that the refs just need to be more consistent with their calls, with the way they acknowledge players. Maybe that is true. Maybe the refs do need to get, more consistent with the way they do it. I think they should. Listen, I've already had this claim that I don't want robo-umps. I don't want eye in the sky kind of officiating that goes on. I mean, challenges, okay, fine. Booth review, okay, fine. But are we going to sit here and we're just going to kind of pile on over and over and over again? You keep doing that, and they're going to take everything off of the refs' hands on the field, and they're just going to do all the eye in the sky stuff. And it's going to lengthen games, and it's going to stop play, and it's going to be a problem for everybody out there. It's unbelievable. So RG3 says the refs need to get more consistent. But listen, Greg Jennings, I saw him. Remember Greg Jennings, wide receiver for the Packers? Said it was inexcusable on Kadarius Toney's part. Chad Ochocinco even details the whole thing. Ochocinco says, he's like, it's Toney's responsibility to stay locked in eye contact with the ref until the ref acknowledges you. Toney looked over, but then he looked back. So if Ochocinco is sitting on the sidelines and he's talking about what Toney is responsible for doing, and Greg Jennings, another wide receiver, is responsible for it. And I mean, listen, Ochocinco did like the entire thing, where you're lining up out wide versus when you're lining up closer into the, to the offensive line. Okay, that's just the bottom line right there. So Chiefs Kingdom, get over it. Stop the whining and crying. I'm sick and tired of hearing all the crying about the officiating. It is. Listen, we go through this every single year. Somebody's always going to complain about the officiating. Is it getting worse and worse? Are we looking at a series of refs? Like we're looking at Angel Hernandez. I mean, I thought it was so funny that they sat there going into week 14. They were actually talking about the ref crew that's being investigated. And I mean, listen, NFL investigations. I mean, that's ridiculous. Just ask anybody about the Bijan Robinson injury reporting incident, or what was the other? Oh, the Joe Burrow injury reporting incident. I mean, that's unbelievable. And the NFL has just kind of glossed right over that, and nobody's at fault, and nobody's being penalized for it. So an NFL investigation is to me, it's futile and it's dumb. But what's most important here is that going into this week, they were singling out this one ref crew. They were singling out this crew, and they were like, they're officiating the Jets-Texans game, and they're going to be watched super closely, and blah, blah, blah. And all eyes were right on there. And then what happens? It's in the Chiefs game where it all ends up falling apart. So, I mean, listen, refs are humans. Refs miss things. They get things. That's why we have reviews. That's why we have the booth review, with 2 minutes left, so that it tries to avoid things like, games being decided by a referee. But you guys got to stop with this whole conspiracy thing. Blame Toney. I think Jim Bowden said it best to me, all right, on the air. Loser players find ways to lose games. And that's exactly what we've got with Kadarius Toney. All right. Giants fans know what we're talking about. Anybody who knows, Kadarius Toney from his NFL career and what he's done and, everything that's happened with him. I remember the video that he posted of him trashing Giants fans. I mean, this dude, he's got a 5-cent head. He might have amazing talent on the field, might have great speed, might have great hands, might have great instincts. You know what? He's got a 5-cent head, and that's problematic. And loser players find ways to lose games. And Kadarius Toney is the only one that you guys need to be blaming. Stop crying about the refs. Stop talking about call should never be made like that at that time. Rules are not subjective. Rules are, you need to look at rules. Rules are finite. All right. Subjective is the wrong word. Rules should not be open for such crazy interpretation that some refs call it and some don't. All right. It is what it is. And so y'all got called on it. That's the end of the story. It's not going to, nobody's going to go back. Nobody's going to change anything. Maybe the refs will spend a little bit more time focusing on this particular penalty. I don't know. What I do know is that any wide receiver out there needs to check with the ref, eye contact, lock it in, be extra diligent about it. I get it. 2-minute drill, hurry up offense, so much going on. You got to check, you got to look for coverage, everything like that. Yeah. Focus with the ref. Make sure you're onside. That's all I'm going to say. I just want to stay in the football realm here just for a quick minute. And I just want to shout out Tommy DeVito, right? He is the hero that I never knew I needed. Right. And Gotham's Guido. I love this. Adam Bernard, our illustrious producer here. Shout out for Adam Bernard. Gotham's Guido night. Yeah, listen. Tommy DeVito. Go back and listen to SiriusXM Fantasy Alarm Show, and you'll hear my whole love letter to Tommy. The chicken cutlets, I actually had chicken cutlets. For those of you who might not know, my survivor pool came down to me and one other guy this past week, and I had the Ravens, and he had the Packers. So, of course, I made my wife some Tommy cutlets for dinner, right? We did cutlets with some cheese on top, and we did some penne alla vodka to go with it, and we celebrated and enjoyed that meal during the game. And Tommy DeVito, listen, this dude, again, I've said it before, I hope they keep him on as a backup. This dude's not a starter in the NFL. And I heard some reporter actually ask Brian Daboll to compare Tommy DeVito's early success here with that of Tom Brady coming off the bench. And that's ridiculous. Ridiculous. I do love his agent. For those of you out there who have never seen the movie 10 Things I Hate About You, that's who he reminds me of. He reminds me of Joey, the smart-ass dude who pays Heath Ledger money to go take out a girl. Right. So, I mean, it's unbelievable. And I love he got pissed off that they were talking about him on the Manning cast and they referred to him as slimy. He's like, the hat is kind of like my thing. Listen, you're a caricature. Accept it. Love on it. We're okay with it. Everything about Tommy DeVito and this and, seeing his parents in the stands. And listen, I grew up in that era. I grew up in New York. Right. So I know what the community is like. So, embrace it, love on it, and thank you, Tommy DeVito, because you and that pass to Wan'Dale Robinson at the end of that game was it was a huge thing for me, huge thing for my family, and Tommy cutlets will always be on the Bender household menu. Last thing I want to say here real quick before we bring in stepmom Lauren, this Shohei Ohtani contract. Oh my God. I mean, listen, the contract is the contract, $700 million for 10 years. But the fact that Ohtani has deferred 68 of the 70 million he's supposed to get annually, right, for 10 years, so the Dodgers can use all this extra money for the free agents. Listen, there's no salary cap to circumvent. It is what it is. It's a crappy situation. There's no way that the MLB should have even allowed it. There's no way that that the Players Association should allow this. Like the fact that Ohtani can just say that he's going to defer so that the Dodgers can spend another $1 billion on Yamamoto or any other free agent that's, highly coveted right now. This is definitely, it's going to be a problem. It's definitely going to be a problem. This is like, it's like the Bobby Bonilla situation. Like, how much are they going to end up? Ohtani's taking care of his family for life. And I applaud him for that move. And he wants to win a World Series more than anything, which is why he's doing this. But yeah, I mean, I get it, really, you can't live off of $2 million a year? Come on, man. This sets a bad precedent, and baseball does not need another black eye like this. So more on that once we get closer to the baseball season. Yeah, the Dodgers' finances in a decade. It's going to be ridiculous. Whatever their payroll is now in 10 years, now add $68 million a year to it to pay off Ohtani's family. I mean, again, they're going to defer those payments, I'm sure, and break them up as well to routinely help. So that's a whole other ball of wax, but I have to acknowledge it right now. And Jim Bowden and I will be talking more about that. We're going to do a private front office insights as like a prelude to the MLB draft guide. But let's bring her in here. I got to get my buddy Lauren Carpenter in here. Again, she's a writer at FTN Fantasy, host of the FTN Fantasy Show on SiriusXM. She's on stepmomlauren.com. She does the waiver wire segment on All In Fantasy, part of the FTN video family. Let's bring her in. My girl, Lauren Carpenter.
Hello. It's been a minute.
It has been a minute. Look at you, all festive and holidayed out here.
Yeah, I sorry if there's an echo. I'm trying to fix my AirPods. Hang on, let me see if this works.
Okay, yeah, you see. Testing. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3.
I got you loud and clear. Now loud and clear.
I got you loud and clear too. How are you? You look all right. First of all,
snap.
Yes, I love that. I love the holiday thing. Gingerbread. Is that a hobbled gingerbread man there?
Yeah, his arm snapped off. So snap.
Oh, I got it. You look fantastic, by the way. I just want you to know you look fantastic. I know that you're refreshed coming back from a recent vacation, but how's life in stepmom Lauren's world?
It is so busy right now, Howard. I don't even know my own name. My birthday just came and went, and I would not have celebrated it if it weren't for my very good friends surprising me on my birthday. Because I just am like, we're building a house right now. So that is super crazy. It is the middle of the football season. For anyone who does not know who I am, I'm a fantasy football analyst. So I blink and it's week 15 and I don't know what's going on. And we have so many backups and injuries and issues. And my brain is exploding. So I'm drinking a lot more.
Okay. I mean, listen, there's nothing wrong with that. And I'll tell you what, we'll booze it up in a little bit here. I got a fun segment for us coming up in a little bit. So you're building a new house.
Yes.
That's adventurous.
It is. It's our dream home. We're going to die there. So that's exciting. So everything is like zero entry, including our shower and our pool. So, just in case, hire me a good lawyer. You know what I mean? Like just straight into the pool. It'll be fine. Like everything is good. No, it's really exciting. We're very lucky. My husband's a CGC, so he's a general contractor, and that part has gone pretty smoothly. And next steps, once we get to interior, I'm actually laying the flooring myself as much as I possibly can to save some money. Assembling all the cabinets, except for the kitchen. Those are coming pre-assembled. Yeah, I know. I'm kind of DIY-y. It's super fun. But yeah, luckily that's happening after the football season. So yay. Yeah, this is good. I'm really excited. We have lived in the same home now for almost 12 years, and it's time to graduate. It's so funny. All my kids are gone, and now we're moving into a bigger house. I don't know how this happened.
I mean, I figure, you gotta keep the indoors like pretty wide open at least for Jeff, who's like this thrill seeker, adrenaline junkie, flip the ATV kind of a situation. How's his shoulder doing, by the way?
Which one?
I didn't bring the picture of the most recent shoulder surgery. Did he injure the other one?
Yeah. So that was actually the oldest one, right? That was 6 months ago. Okay, so the story behind this is my husband and his friends are thrill seekers. I am not, but we have dirt bikes and four-wheelers. We have some property where we go and ride them around. They're daredevils. I'm like Mulva, like when I drive. I'm like, oh my God, I'm going 20 miles an hour. I'm gonna die. But I bring all the beer. So everyone has to wait for me anyway. So that's fine. I just cruise at my own pace. But he was actually loading his four-wheeler up into the truck bed, go get it serviced. And he did like this 10-minute safety check of the ramps. Are they properly secured? Are they strapped? Are we lined up? Normally he walks it up, but he had seen his friend just drive it up said ramps the weekend before. So he was like, oh, if he can do it, I can do it. He actually did a great job, but freak accident, one of the straps broke on the ramp right when he was getting it up onto the truck bed. So that fell backwards. He goes backwards on the four-wheeler, still running, by the way. So he hits the steel ramps, bounces off, hits the driveway. The four-wheeler lands on top of him and then him again. So he had completely messed up one of his shoulders. The other one was slightly messed up, but it got even worse. And so he was pushing in his dresser drawer, and there goes the rest of his biceps tendon and the rest of his rotator cuff just severed. So we had to have another surgery. That was like 2 weeks ago. Yeah, it's been awesome. So when the surgeon and the spouse are on a first name basis,
Right, yeah.
this isn't good. Okay, like he
You guys are,
literally
like,
comes out and he's
having
like, "Hey,
holiday
Lauren,
dinner
what's up?" I'm
together.
like, "What's up, DeYoung? How you doing?" Like this, it's a really sad day when you're like first name basis with your surgeon and you almost invite him to your Christmas party. Like it's a problem. This is our 4th surgery together, and I'm like, "Listen, bro, I'm done. I can't do this anymore."
That is unbelievable. It's like the worst luck you could possibly have.
It's
So
terrible.
yeah, at the Fantasy Football Expo back in August, yeah, Jeff had just had her husband's name is Jeff.
Yes, it is.
And so Jeff had just had the surgery that, and
It is sling.
you showed me the picture of him in the sling with like the little Frankenstein kind of, scar going on
He
there.
was filleted open like a fish. And you want to know what's really irritating about this, Howard, is that you can't even see the scar. I'm like, if we went through all of this drama, I want something to show for it because I want to just make up a random story every time we're at the beach or at the pool or something. And he has this massively hideous scar where I'm like, yeah, he was bit by a shark rescuing a chihuahua from the beach or something. But no, you can't even see it. I'm like, what is the point of this if you don't have anything to be like, yeah, look at this massive scar and like wounds? No, it's like, no. I need something way more substantial.
Looks like a weird tan line from a
it does
a
just look
tank
like,
top.
and it's like a hairline because they stitched it from the inside. I'm like, what is this newfangled surgical stuff you're doing? Like, this is weird.
Oh, Jeff. Well, I mean, give him a big hug from me. That is just horrendous luck. But before he went under the knife, though, you guys did a nice little vacation trip here. You guys went to St. Lucia.
We did.
And you got to tell me about this. You were like, there's a drive-through volcano?
Yes. The drive-through volcano. It's the only one in the world. So
look at our pictures here.
Okay, yeah, show them. The the St. Lucia. Oh, that's us in a helicopter. And that's the beautiful Victoria, like hidden waterfall, which I thought I was spry. I am not. Trying to get to this waterfall was like walking over slippery, large boulders. And I'm like, I am so fleet of foot. I'm just going to bound across. Nope. I crawled with I'm like, oh my God, I'm going to slip. What's the worst that can happen? What, I bang my knee on a rock and get wet? But I literally felt like, oh my God, there's lava in the stream. I'm going to die if I happen to slip a little bit. I'm getting old and I don't like it, Bender. But so this is an imploding volcano. So you can actually drive almost straight up to it. And they have kind of harnessed the hot springs. So you go and have this whole entire excursion for the day. You see the town of St. Lucia, and the roads there are the size of one of our lanes is both lanes. And these harrowing switchback roads, and you're in this open top Jeep that there's no seatbelts. You have a finger outside of this cage, and it's gone because it's getting taken off by a car. Like they don't even have side view mirrors anymore because it's like you need KY just to like get past each other on a turn. It's terrible. So like we take this Jeep thing up and we have to hike through the wilderness, and there's a guy in front of us like beating the bushes to like get rid of the snakes, which the only reason they have snakes is because of like white slave owners. That was a great story to hear when all of us in the entire bus are like, well, Jeep, excuse me, are white. That and our sweet tour guide is this young black man. He's like, well, I think it's really funny. I'm like, this is not. I feel like a horrible human being right now. Could we have skipped that history lesson? But I am glad that I know that because St. Lucia is one of the most diverse, awesome places. Everyone is happy. It was absolutely stunning. We ended up taking a helicopter ride instead of trying to navigate the roads in a like as riders. No, we didn't drive those. That would be terrible. But yeah, that's us in a helicopter going across the island to get to the airport on our way back like ballers. That's what we did.
I like that.
We
so
rolled that like ballers.
People can't see that, but like can't see the bottom part of the picture. It got clipped off. I tried to salvage as much of it as I possibly could. Even on vacation, she's in her Scott Fishbowl 9 shirt. Right there.
Oh yeah, I am. Yes, that is my Scott Fishbowl 9 shirt. Also, the bottom of that waterfall is this beautiful, like pool. It was freezing cold, but all of us got to get in it, and it was just absolutely marvelous. But the drive through volcano, right? Like you get into the hot springs, and then it like opens your pores. Then you get out, and you have buckets of mud from the volcano. It's volcanic mud. It smells like sulfur. You slather it all over yourself.
Oh, where's that picture? Where's that?
Yeah,
there it is.
yeah,
Look
right
at
there.
you two.
And so you let it dry. And then you get back into the water and you like scrub it all off and your skin is like a baby's butt. It was phenomenal. Yeah. I was like, I didn't have acne for a week. Like it was wonderful. I was like, this is amazing. Like, why aren't you selling this worldwide? Like I need more of that volcanic mud in my life. So that's my wonderful husband. Isn't he great?
He is great. I love Jeff.
Yay.
Jeff's one of the coolest people. I remember when I met him at the first expo, we had just an absolute blast with hanging out and getting to know him a lot. And you guys are in the Dirty Laundry League. Yeah, give me this one here.
Okay.
Talk to me about this one.
Okay, so
these helmets you're wearing are hysterical.
Okay. So this is how dumb I can be sometimes. I'm like, all right, I have real bad panic and anxiety. And I was thinking, well, I can't scuba because that's horrifying. And Jeff doesn't like to snorkel. So I was like, we'll just meet in the middle. All you do is you're just walking into the water with these big giant helmets on. That's easy. This is the most terrifying thing I've ever done in my life. Not only that, but I was so hungover during this situation. I'm like, I'm going to die. Like, I'm like, tell my children I love them. I'm going to die. This is it. At least I'm going out in the water. I don't know. But like I went into the water, a broken woman. I emerged renewed. The shock of the cold water, that hose that goes up, that's piping not pure oxygen, but fresh oxygen into this tank. Now that's not sealed. That just sits on top of your head. So if you lean your head back, water fills up.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And those actual helmets are 72 pounds. But because when you're in the water, it lightens them up. And those yellow balloons, those are air buoys. So those also help to lighten the load on your shoulders. And you're literally just walking around on the bottom of the ocean. And they have a bunch and they downloaded all of them for you, sent up to your WhatsApp. So I've got videos, I've got pictures. But it was a really cool experience. I'm so glad I did it, even though that was the most scared that I have been for the first like 3 minutes of it. But once you're kind of in there, you're like, this is the closest to space I'm ever gonna get ever in my life. So I'm like, I'm walking on the moon. It was fantastic. I can't say anything more. If anyone wants to go to St. Lucia, I highly recommend staying at a sandals resort. If you do, hit me up. I will give you all of the ins and outs to make this the best trip ever. Make sure you fast pass through immigration. That's the choice.
It looks absolutely amazing. It looks.
We haven't been on a vacation longer than 3 days since our honeymoon 11 years ago. So this was a combined my 40th birthday, our 11-year wedding anniversary, all rolled into one vacation.
when was your birthday? What's your birthday?
November 21st. I just turned 40.
How did I not know that?
You did. You posted on Twitter. You're good.
Did I?
Yeah,
I
you're
did.
celebrate
That's
this
right.
woman.
I didn't realize it was your 40th though. Wow.
Yeah.
Milestone, girl. Milestone.
Yeah.
You
Now
look
I'm going
25.
through now I'm going through perimenopause and I love my life. Yeah, let's go 40. Woo!
My wife's gone through the.
It's freaking
menopause.
terrible, man. You have to put up with us when we're going through this. The struggle is real, but no, it's good. At least, I have makeup to cover up my old lady acne, and I have gray hair in my eyebrows now, which is super fun.
For my wife, the menopause was like the only thing that like really, I mean, listen, I've dealt with her mood swings my entire life, right? I mean, we've been together for, well over 20 years, and we've known each other even longer than that. And so I've dealt with that. The hot flashes are the thing that I have the hardest time with.
Oh, I don't refer to them as hot flashes. No.
Well, I get cold real easily, and she gets hot real easily. And then on top of that, then the hot flashes. So she's like whipping the windows wide open and the wind's coming in. And I'm like sitting there, like shivering. And she's like, oh my God, I'm dying right now. I'm dying right now. She keeps the bedroom like with like 7 different fans blowing on the bed.
Oh yeah.
It's like, it's like a tomb.
I call them warm episodes. It's warm episodes.
Not a warm episode.
I'm a little toasty. I'm so sorry for everyone who's tuned into this. Like, I did not want to tune in to hear about this, but I'm sorry. It's a fact of life. These things happen. I'm trying to stay.
It is a fact of life, 100%. And you know what? It is what it is, and we all know. Like this, that's what this vibe is all about. We're supposed to be talking about stuff like this. Listen, I am going to definitely ask you about the radio show. Like, how is it going with you on Sirius XM now? This has been your first year.
Yeah.
You've been guests on shows a ton, and you've been a guest on the Fantasy Alarm show with me. But now this is like, it's you, it's Chris Meany, it's Jake Seeley, it's the 3 of you, 3-person booth. Like, how's the show for you? Are you just having an absolute blast?
I am. I don't know how we haven't been canceled. That's like, it blows my mind. Like, how do we still have a show? Like, what? No, we have a ton of really good content that we bring out every Saturday, but because it's Saturday morning, it always goes off the rail within about 29 to 32 minutes into the show. And then we just start having a ton of fun. We still have really good analysis. But we just have fun with it. We have fun with each other. As you can tell, I'm a no holds bar person. What you see is what you get. And they even have like one of our intros to our segment is welcome to All In or the FTN Fantasy Show. Here's Jake Seeley, whatever else is on Lauren's mind. Like, that's how ridiculous we just get. It's silly. It has been so much fun. I absolutely love it. I was like cramping my style because I'm like, wait a minute, I have to like be on a show at 9 a.m. on a Saturday. Now it's the thing I look forward to the most because we have so much fun and I absolutely love it. So if you haven't been able to do so, tune in, Sirius XM. Listen to Howard's show. I've been on it several times. Listen to Howard's show. Also listen to ours. It's every Saturday morning, 9 to 11 a.m. You can also listen on demand. We have a ton of fun. And when we disagree, it's like brother, sister. Like
that's always fun. The best because you guys do kind of go at each other a little bit.
We do. Oh, yeah, we do. We do. It's fun. It's really fun. Like sometimes we get a little like under the belt. It's like, whoa, calm it down, killer. Like, I think your producer thinks I'm nuts, but it's okay.
I'm listen, on Saturday mornings, I'm sitting there and I'm writing the playbook for Fantasy Alarm. And so I'm up. It's like 6 a.m. my time. And I'm like,
that's early.
Of course it's early, but I'm sitting there and I'm working on the playbook and I pop on, the Sirius XM and I sit and I listen to you guys all the time. So
we have a lot of fun.
I'm there. Long time listener, first time caller. How about that?
Friend of the show.
Friend of the show. Absolutely. Absolutely. So you're doing that, which is absolutely fantastic. And yes, again, Saturday mornings, 9 to 11 a.m. Eastern on Sirius XM Fantasy Sports Radio, channel 87. And then what else you got going on? So waiver wire segments on All In Fantasy, part of the FTN family. What else are you doing over there at FTN?
Yeah, so at FTN, those are the 2 big shows that I have. So like, again, building a house. So I really scaled it down. For anyone who has followed my work, you're kind of thinking, where the hell did Lauren go? Because I used to work for like 6 different networks. But this year, because we are building the house, there's so many things going on. I just decided to scale it down, stay at one network this year. So I'm just at FTN. For the next kind of rest of the fantasy season, we are just going to be on Wednesdays now instead of Mondays. So Wednesdays, 10 a.m. Eastern, it's going to be the 3 of us. So you'll get the 3 of us dose Wednesdays. That's on YouTube or wherever you get your podcasts for All In Football. And then Saturday mornings will be the 3 of us again. So that's really what I've got on my plate. And I'm actually I love it. I love football. You know how much I love football. And I get to really enjoy it this year instead of just having one day off, which was Saturday, and all I did was sleep. So it's nice to kind of be able to space out my work and really dedicate the time that I need to. And it's such a blast. I love my job. How do I get paid for this? This is shocking. I feel like I'm cheating.
I kind of
Cheating the
sometimes
system.
I sit there too, and I wonder how this ended up how my life ended up doing
How
all
did I get
this.
here? People ask me that all the time. I'm like, I have a bachelor of journalism. They're like, oh, that makes sense, but they have no idea what I'm talking about.
They don't know if you're putting. How's your football season going, by the way? You are not in the Dirty Laundry playoffs.
Oh no.
And
no.
neither is Jeff.
I know. Thanks, Britt Flynn. Knocked him out. I love you, Britt. So yeah, I've got this weird bipolar situation going on with my leagues because we I are in so many leagues, and just some of them, the draft with waivers, especially if they're 14 team or more, there's nothing on the waiver wire. Nobody trades. So some of them did fall off the priority list, but I have 3 that I am in. Actually, I'm in 5 playoffs. 3 of them I am top seed. So I have a first round bye, including the SiriusXM host league. That is exciting. I am number 1 in that standing. As we know, we retweet that all the time when SiriusXM puts that out on X. And so I have 3 first round buys, and I'm in the playoff in a 4th. So I'm doing pretty well. It's kind of bipolar. I don't really have too much in the middle. It's either real bad, or I'm doing real well. So it's weird. It was kind of that just, polar ends, opposite ends of the spectrum this year, but it's been a weird year. It's been one of those funky ones.
Definitely been a weird year, and there are, I'm in a ridiculous number of leagues too, and
yes,
you're like, I did really well in some, and I did okay in some, and then there are a couple of them out there that you're just like, whatever. Thankfully it's over and done with, and I don't have to sit there and look on waivers for week 15 for every single league. So
yep.
I totally get that. Well, we're gonna dazzle the world right now here, Lauren. You and me.
We're gonna
play a little game. It's all football related, everybody. So we're gonna play a little game. It's called Cocktail Connection, right? Because in honor of the Oh, I was digging on that, man.
Yeah, I was too. I was rocking.
Digging
I can't
on
see
that
you yet.
Beat. That beat was awesome. That was spicy. All right. Thank you, Adam Bernard, for that. All right. Cocktail Connection. Here's what we're doing, Lauren. Here's how it works. My illustrious producer, Adam Bernard, the voiceover in the sky, he's going to give us a drink, a wine, a beer, a cocktail, whatever. He's going to give us something. And then what we have to do is we have to assign a player who best represents that cocktail. We'll go first back and forth here because we both have answers, and we'll see who's who everybody thinks. You guys can if you have a preference as to which player better represents that drink, put that into the chat there for me and Lauren, so we can check on all of that. Are you ready, Lauren?
I'm gonna have so many haters at the end of this segment.
Adam Bernard, we are ready for our first drink.
Okay.
All right, let's go to the wine bar. Here we are. Now let's pull up the first one. We're gonna go with the Cabernet Sauvignon. Who reminds you of a Cabernet Sauvignon?
I'll say ladies first. You can go first on this one.
Okay. So quick backstory. My mom was a huge wino. She has passed, rest in peace, Mom. So a lot of these, if there's any wine takes, it's going to have to do with my mom. She used to love herself a solid Cabernet. I am not a Cabernet drinker. I don't prefer it. Actually, I shouldn't say not a Cabernet drinker. I prefer a nice full body, but evaporate off the tongue Pinot Noir. That is my starter. That is my go-to, is a really good Pinot Noir. They don't have a good Pinot Noir, then I go to the backup, which is the Cabernet Sauvignon. And then I can be slightly surprised. It goes especially well, in my opinion, with red marinara meat sauce pasta. Give this to me. So my player is Tommy DeVito. Tommy DeVito.
Yo.
I love him. He is my Cabernet Sauvignon, my surprisingly electrifying backup that goes really well with some Italian dishes.
I was just telling everybody I made Tommy cutlets for dinner for Monday Night
I
Football.
heard they looked like fish to me, but that's okay.
What?
I thought they were like fish fillets because there was a lemon with it. And I'm like, that looks like fried cod.
That wasn't mine.
I don't know. It was on the screen. And Angie's like, no, I lived in Brooklyn for 5,000 years. That's what chicken cutlets look like. I'm like, sorry, killer, my bad.
No, those are cutlets.
Don't hate me.
The lemon's a garnish.
He's such a soothing voice. I could listen to that all day long.
He does, right? I have a pillow made out of Adam Bernard's voice.
Oh, when you squeeze it, he says something else?
It does. It just lulls me to sleep.
Yeah.
All right. Well, Tommy DeVito for you, Cab Sav. For me, Jason Kelce. You don't get more full-bodied, old, reliable, goes great with a lot of good, heavy dishes.
See, Kelsey's a good Pinot Noir for me.
Oh, see, I think of Pinot Noir as like a little bit more spicy, and he's not the spicy one of the Kelce brothers. So
true.
I'll go full-bodied there. So Kelce for me, DeVito for. I love this. When I turned and watched my wife doing this,
yes, Dad,
I was like, damn, look at you.
I know. Gets everyone involved.
What's next, Adam?
Since we were just talking about Tommy DeVito and the New York tri-state area, which player reminds you of a Long Island iced tea?
All right, I'll go first on this one then. Long Island iced tea is Baker Mayfield. Every once in a while, you can do one, right? All right, I'll have a Long Island iced tea, and you drink it, right? Just like you can use Baker Mayfield for a random DFS week.
Okay, I'm there with you.
Way too much Baker Mayfield, way too much Long Island iced teas. Never a good combination. Can't do it on the regular. I mean, it's barely a once in a while sort of a thing. So Baker
Speak for yourself.
Well, for Baker Mayfield. For you, Long Island iced teas, have at it.
I hope I have a job at the end of the show. Okay. My Long Island iced tea is Tyreek Hill. And the reason why is Tyreek Hill only needs a few catches to get 1 billion yards. You only need a few Long Island iced teas to get trashed. And you get trashed fast. And Tyreek Hill is fast. So to me, Tyreek Hill is the Long Island iced tea.
Wow. It's kind of funny. I actually have Tyreek Hill, but for a different drink. I don't know if we're going to do that one. So I'll just say it right now, right?
Do it.
To me, Tyreek Hill is a Chardonnay, right? Because it's full body, medium to full bodied, right? But there's an acidity to it. There's like a bitter, like leaves a bad taste in your mouth sometimes. And that's what Tyreek Hill does. He's dominant on the field. He's great and everything like that. But I mean, let's face facts, right? Tyreek Hill, I'm going to retire this year. I'm going to slap this boat captain in the back of the head. Like, I mean, that's just, to me, that's Tyreek, the acidity of Tyreek Hill.
I love it. So Chardonnay brings a whole new world for me because my mom, as I said, big wine drinker, but she ended just being a huge Chardonnay person. My Chardonnay is Cooper Cup because Cooper Cup with a Chardonnay is like the same thing with dinner, right? Like normally a good glass of white wine, if you don't want to have the sweet Pinot Grigio, you go to a Chardonnay. Cabernet, or so the Sauvignon Blanc is one I'm thinking of. Chardonnay, Cabernet. I despise wine.
Sauvignon Blanc, isn't that the one that tastes like cat piss?
I don't know. I don't like wine, so whatever. But Cooper Cup is my Chardonnay. Quick funny story about Chardonnay. My mother lit herself on fire. She gave up wine for Lent, and on Easter, the first time she ever met my now ex, but his parents, was at Easter. She was absolutely hammered because she finally got to drink wine again, and she lit herself on fire over the reduction sauce. We had to like change her clothes and distract the parents. It was the worst Easter of my life. Thank you, Chardonnay. Because I think what Cooper Cup is going to do to me in the playoffs. But yeah, my mom lit herself on fire. She's like, oh no, I've ruined the reduction. I'm like, you've ruined your left breast in your shirt. Let's not worry about the reduction sauce.
Oh, Adam, what's our next drink? We're 3 drinks in already, and it's already going off the rails. But
Seems like you guys are drinking what's going on the screen as we put them up. I think it's time to crack open a beer here. So let's say who reminds you of an IPA?
Oh, you were talking about this player earlier. I'm going to jump right in here. This is hot takey, and I might just completely alienate a lot of listeners. I hate IPAs. I don't like a lot of people that have that mentality of IPA or die. You know what I'm saying? That like people drink IPA. That's not what I mean. A majority of people that like a good IPA, that's okay. But there's that niche of people, right? Where it's like made with goat's milk and, that kind of weird IPA people. IPAs, in my opinion, are very overrated. People talk about them way too much. People have their like weird labels and names and funky descriptions of all this kind of stuff, when in reality, it just tastes like pee. Or bitter pee or thick poop. It's disgusting. I hate IPAs. My players, I have two. They're Kadarius Toney, overrated. I am sorry. My other one for fantasy purposes is Miles Sanders. I now probably am going to get hated on by everybody. I'm sorry.
You're not going to get hated on at all by me because I can't stand IPAs either. Like,
okay, good.
I was tending bar in New York when the brew pub phase happened in the 90s. Yeah. And and everybody was going bonkers over it. They're more bonkers over it right now. And it's like, I make my own denim and I brew my own IPA at home.
Right. Yes. Like, those people is what I'm talking about. Not the average IPA person who can sub that out with a cocktail.
People who are using beeswax on their mustache
with their own bees that they have in their yard, which I think is sustainable for the environment, but just don't ram it down my throat. I don't need to hear all about your gluten-free situation that you've got going on with homegrown wool shirts that you have from your own sheep in your backyard that are best friends with the llama. I don't care.
My alpaca keeps popping his head in over here, and he wants to get at you on that one. For me, IPA, it's Bill Belichick, right? Like, okay, you drink an IPA because you want to get messed up, right? You got that high ABV and whatever. But bottom line is that it's bitter, and it leaves a horrible taste in your mouth. It might get the job done, but the aftermath is just a disaster. And that, to me, is Bill Belichick. Gets the job done, leaves a terrible taste in your mouth.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I like that. I can see that. Definitely can see that.
All right. Well, do we have more?
I think we got time for what? 2 more, we think here?
Let's do 2 more. 2 more.
And by the way, thank you for your takes on the IPA, because as a guy who lives in Northern California and can't stand them, you go to a bar and have a twin caps.
Okay, I was worried.
One will be an IPA. One will be a 90-minute session IPA. Get out of here. All right. Yeah. Enough of that, though.
I'm like, you got a Bud bottle? I'll take a Bud bottle, please.
Thank you. I'm good with that. Yeah.
All right. Let's go to the world of Bloody Marys. Who reminds you of a Bloody Mary?
I have 2 staples.
The floor is yours. Here we go.
Excellent. I'm gonna throw out 2 different drinks here that are my staples every Sunday morning. All right. One of them is a Bloody Mary. Can't be any Bloody Mary. Like, you go to a bar and they have like the nasty, like generic version of Zing Zang or something, and it's gross, and you're like, ugh. But then you have the homemade ones or the real good ones that have snacks in it. Like a beef stick or shrimp or like a mini slider that's stuck in there with like all sorts salad. Of olives. And like it's like a side salad or like, an hors d'oeuvre that's shoved in your Bloody Mary. I mean, that is a snack. It is vitamin C. It is absolutely delicious. My Bloody Mary is Josh Allen. A really good Bloody Mary that is just there. It's your staple. It's awesome. It's go-to. And then every once in a while you go to that one place, you get that nasty Bloody Mary and you're like, what happened? Why? This needs to be so much better. And that is Josh Allen for me. 100%. I also want to do my second Sunday staple when you're done with your Bloody Mary one. Because do you like I just dictated your show to you? Why do you have me on? Why are we friends? I don't know.
We're friends for exactly this. Exactly this. I described it. I said you and I are like the brother and sister or the cousins who are sitting there at the Thanksgiving Day table.
The only ones having fun.
Right. And all the parents are like, stop it. I will separate the two of you.
They're kicking us under the table.
Right? Yeah. Like that's you and me. So that's why you're here. My Bloody Mary's George Kittle, right? It's because it's the ultimate hair of the dog, right?
Yes.
It's a brutal day. The night was great. And then you wake up in the next morning, you're like, oh, how am I going to do this? You get yourself some George Kittle, right? He pops up with some of these big plays, the fun things that get you like all amped up again. It wakes you right up from the game. Snacks.
Delicious.
It's the reverse Tommy DeVito for
it is. It's drink and then drink. I mean, I love this. Oh my God. I kind of feel like T-Rex though doing that. Like, I have really small arms. I don't know if that works. I really need one of those blow up T-Rex costumes.
It works.
my other Sunday staple. Because after I have my homemade Bloody Mary with all the snacks, I go to a mimosa. So my sparkling wine, my champagne, because I buy Andre. Okay, it's $5. Leave me alone because it's going in orange juice and it's going in my hungover body. So deal with it. But yeah, I'll have a mimosa in my sparkling wine. That is a staple. It never fails me. It is just absolutely delicious. You can be fancy, you can be bougie, you can be hungover, you can have one eye open, you can have mascara smeared. It doesn't matter. Your mimosa is still going to win. And that is Christian McCaffrey, is my mimosa, also known as champagne.
Wow. All right.
Can you tell I've had some rough mornings?
I can definitely tell because, when you say, the best.
It's my eye black. Don't worry about it.
Hi.
Like Aiden Hutchinson just there.
I'm Stepmom Lauren, and this is a Maybelline nightmare right now.
Maybe she's born with it. Maybe it's vodka drinks.
She came out of the womb and boom, eye black right there. My sparkling wine.
Like that right now.
My sparkling wine / champagne, if we get it from France, right?
Oh.
Or, maybe your Prosecco, however you want to call it. That's Zach Wilson. It's light.
What?
It's light. It's bubbly. It's effervescent. And
so me.
Cougars love it.
Not me. Okay.
You're not a cougar.
I know. But you're light, bubbly, and effervescent. It's either that or I'm a stout.
Zach Wilson, have you ever seen a picture of Zach Wilson? He's like,
yeah, that is true. I can see it. I'm there with you.
And he's big with the moms.
His mom is also big with the men. His mom's really good looking.
Good for her. Absolutely. Listen, hey, my wife could get hit by a bus. If Zach Wilson's mom is available after that, just see what happens.
I'm sorry, Deb. I'm not responsible for this.
Zach, tell your mom to call me.
Call me. Here's my number. Call me, maybe.
Lauren, it's absolute. I could sit here and hold you here for hours and hours on end, but I gotta let you go. I thank you so much for joining. Before I get you out of here, tell everybody where they can find you, how they can listen to you, and what they should be reading.
You guys can find me on any social media. Actually, not any. I lied. I don't do Twitch or TikTok. Like, I'm too old for that crap anymore. Twitter is the best way to get to me. Excuse me, X. That is at Stepmom Lauren. I have a website, stepmomlauren.com. I haven't updated it in ages because there's a lot of stuff I need to do with it. So sorry, I'm a slacker. Deal with it. Sue me. SiriusXM every Saturday morning, 9 to 11 a.m. You can also catch me starting this next week moving forward every Wednesday on YouTube at FTN Fantasy YouTube channel. So the FTN YouTube channel, All In Football, 10 a.m. with Jake Seeley and Chris Meaney. And hit me up, everybody. If I don't answer, it's because I get a lot of messages. I'm not ignoring you, I promise. But good luck, everyone who's in the playoffs. And if you're not, try betting. Try it. Props, over-unders. Don't spend a ton of money. You don't want to waste your Christmas money, but it just keeps you some skin in the game. Daily fantasy is my recommendation if you are out of the playoffs. I know you didn't ask, but I gave it anyway.
You know what? Again, you have carte blanche on this show. It's all about you. It's all about you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for being here. Absolute pleasure. My love to Jeff.
Will do.
Give him a little shoulder squeeze for me.
Ding, ding. I'll be very gentle.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's Stepmom Lauren here at Stepmom Lauren on the old Twitter /X machine. Love this woman. You will as well if you don't already know her. Trust me on that. So let's wrap up today's show with a final five. Now, over the last 2 weeks, we've been doing the most inept franchises. We did football. We did baseball. Well, I mean, if we're going to top it off here with the four major sports, it's NBA today. And I know that I don't have a lick of credibility with any of you with NBA. So today's Final Five, the five most inept NBA franchises. Take it away, John and Pemba.
What's going on, FA Nation? John Pemba here, bringing your top 5 inept NBA organizations, counting down from number 5 to number 1. At the number 5 team here, we're going to go with the Los Angeles Clippers. What can't be said about the Clippers here over the last decade plus? You want to go all the way back to the Lob City Clippers with Chris Paul, DeAndre Jordan, and Blake Griffin. That was a team that constantly failed to meet expectations. They went and hired Doc Rivers, and that team continued to disappoint during the playoff run despite being favorites in the West year after year. And now you look at their team this season. They have Kawhi Leonard and Paul George, but they felt the best mix there was to add in Russell Westbrook and James Harden, two consistent losers over the course of their career. It seems like the Clippers are once again set to fall short in the West this season. Number 4 team here might as well be the Clippers of the East. We have the New York Knicks. Poor ownership here, bad team chemistry, consistent underperformances. It's been a long time since the Knicks have been real threats in the Eastern Conference here. Doesn't seem like it's getting much better. Even with Tom Thibodeau, he's had constant run-ins with some of his star players, and they really need a different mix, it feels like, as that team continues to develop here. The Knicks just continue to trend down in a tough Eastern Conference. Number 3 team here, we're going to go with the Charlotte Hornets. Again, this is a team, though they have LaMelo Ball, a star player, just continually finds themselves towards the bottom of the Eastern Conference here. Doesn't matter that Michael Jordan was the owner. His on-court play was never able to transfer into the owner's box here. The Hornets are constantly a laughingstock, a real-building team all the way back to their Bobcat days here. A team that consistently, even when they draft, do not draft the right mix of players. They bring in high-paid free agents that don't consistently perform for them here. And now you also have to talk about some of the questionable decisions they've made, the players they brought into their organization. Number 2 most inept team, talk about rebuild after rebuild after rebuild. The Detroit Pistons. Sure, back in their Ben Wallace, Rip Hamilton days, they were a force to be reckoned with in the Eastern Conference. But since then, they've really drafted poorly, and that's a mismanagement in their coaching position. There's a reason they're constantly in the lottery here. The Pistons need a lot to get out of the cellar this year. They have some solid players, relevant rookies and top plays. They have Cade Cunningham, Jalen Duran, Jaden Ivey, Killian Hayes, all these lottery picks, and yet they cannot win basketball games here. Even with Monty Williams coming from the Suns to coach this team here, it doesn't seem like they're destined for any improvements anytime soon. And the number 1 most inept organization, let's go with the Washington Wizards, another team that just is a consistent loser year after year, rebuild after rebuild, trading away Bradley Beal, getting rid of Kristaps Porzingis, acquiring Russell Westbrook for a season. Just nothing is working in Washington, and they can consistently find themselves battling in the lottery year after year in the Eastern Conference. Those are my top 5 inept NBA teams right now. What do you guys think? Who are your top 5 most inept NBA teams?
All right. Thanks so much, John and Pemba. Thank you to Stepmom Lauren. Thank you to all of you for tuning in here to Getting Buzzed. Alarm Fantasy Football with me and Andrew Cooper. That's what's next. Appreciate everybody joining us here for today's show. I'm Howard Bender, and we'll catch you next time.